You know what? I think we're just gonna we're gonna hop, skip, and jump right to our next guest. Uh, let's see here. For those of you who don't know Hollerado, you're lying to yourself because you know Hollerado, and we have the lead guitarist Nixon Point with us. Nixon, how you doing, brother?
Hello, I'm all right. How's it going?
It's going, taking it one day at a time. I think that's what most people are trying to do at this time. It's a crazy world we're living in, honestly.
Sure. It's different, eh?
It is. I mean, like I'll wake up in the morning, I look out my front window and I see like a couple walking, holding hands, and it seems normal. Then I'm like, they both have masks on. Like what?
Right. Yeah, that's how people take walks now.
I know.
Just the new thing. Yeah, but all is still well in the world. We're gonna get through it.
Honestly, that's the right attitude to have.
Uh,
So basically, let's start it off. How's quarantine life treating you?
it's treating me all right, to be honest. I had to sort of improvise, and as things progressed, at first slowly and then really quickly. I transitioned from having like a very busy studio schedule. I produce other artists mostly these days
Yep.
to having to completely reschedule everybody's records and then reschedule again. So now I'm just like, have 10 records that I'm going to be working on starting whenever this thing ends.
Right.
So that's cool. But honestly, I I part of me doesn't feel right feeling sort of grateful for the breather that I've been given by this whole
Mhm.
situation, but I'm honestly grateful for the breather that I've been given by this
I
whole
I feel that.
because as you know, the music industry runs at a crazy pace and you can get worn out. And I was doing so much in the studio, making so many records with so many people that it didn't even hit me until after I was sort of forced to slow down a little bit, how much I sort of needed to slow down a bit.
Mhm.
And maybe this is the world's way of telling us that we all need to slow down a little bit in some ways.
I feel that. I think everyone's kind of realizing how big of a breather they have right now. And
Sure.
it's funny because there's some people who are like, they have that energy where like they can't slow down and they need to constantly be doing something. And then there's like the other half where they're like, you know what? Like I could like sit back. I'll have a beer at like 2 in the afternoon. Like it's fine.
Sure, yeah. For me, given the opportunity, I'll take I'll say yes to everything, and I want to make music with everybody. And
Dude,
so I
that's
I tend to kind of never say no, and before I know it, my plate is filling over with things to do, and I love that. I love working with people and hanging out, talking about music, working on it, figuring it all out, and making records. But I think for someone like me and a lot of people, you don't realize until you're forced to stop what you're doing and sit down and take a breather that you realized how badly you needed it.
100%. I get that. So with all this self isolation time, you're producing so many albums. I mean, you will be producing so many albums. But are there any new artists or artists that you found yourself listening to a lot in the self isolation time?
Oh man, there's some artists that I've gravitated towards. Yeah, I listen to a lot more Joni Mitchell,
Nice, nice.
whose bigger songs I've always known, but whose records I never really stopped to listen to. Listening to her, listening a lot to Big Thief, if you know that band.
Oh, I do
Who,
know Big Thief.
yeah, who I knew also, but I've just finally had the time to listen to full records, which
Mhm.
has been awesome. That I've been listening to some classical, mostly in the case of my wife, who practices piano every day. She picks a classical piece and plays it, so I get to listen to that. Not that those classical composers are up and coming in any way, shape, or form. They're long dead, but it's still nice to indulge in listening to them. Them and yeah, a few others as well. Sharon Van Etten, I've always been a fan of. I've been listening back over to her stuff as well.
Very nice. Those are some good picks. Some good picks. My friend told me to listen to Whitney. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah,
Whitney.
I've
Uh,
few Whitney records, definitely.
Oh, nice. So all my friends are like, "Oh man, like you'd really like this band," and I'm like, "Cool. Like, is it just like Whitney? Like, who is it? Like, I don't know." And like,
Yeah.
no, it's like these guys. Like the drummer's the singer, and I'm like, okay, like I can get behind that.
Yes.
And it just like took me to like a different planet. I just
Oh,
like sat on my couch and I was like, I like my wife came in the room. She's like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "You're like literally drooling all over yourself." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like sorry. I'm like, my headphones off. I'm like, "You just listen to this." And then 5 minutes later, she's like drooling all over herself. I'm like, "See, like,
wow.
yeah." So that's been
Power
my like
of
my
music turn us into helpless babies.
literally, literally.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, it's great. I mean, I think music has really been there for people,
Mhm.
and I'm grateful that that this is a time where people are going back to music, or are able to spend time with it.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Yeah.
And speaking of music, let's talk Hollerado for a bit. So you guys, you had your last show in I think it was December of last year, and you guys were a band. I think that was basically 12 years. You started in 2007,
Yeah, man.
uh, and that's like the goal, you know, just being in a band with your best friends and just having that experience and traveling all around the world. You guys had that. I miss you guys every single day. But honestly, the fact that Hollerado, the fact that I got to exist in the same time as Hollerado is just a blessing in itself, honestly.
Oh, stop. Oh,
So,
stop. It was so fun to be a band, and we had an absolute blast right up until the end. And we still completely love each other and talk every day, and are all, still very much involved in music,
mhm,
and that's not going away. So we got so much out of being a band together, and
mhm.
yeah, we're so grateful to have wrapped it up on our own terms as well.
There you go. That's the goal. You know, you pulled a Breaking Bad. You knew when it was time. You're like, here we go. You know, we have 6 seasons and then we're out the door.
Yeah, well, this is what I would say when a lot of people would ask, why are you stopping? Why are you stopping being a
Mhm.
band? And my answer was all the best TV has an arc, has a plan about when to finish, and they do it in a timely manner.
There you go.
Uh, and they don't overstay their welcome.
Mhm. Unlike some shows, you know, like I just found out Modern Family just ended after like 11 seasons,
Right.
which is crazy because I think I
Like
only
four
watched the
or
first.
five, and yet they still make it, right?
Exactly, exactly. But you know that it's just such a beautiful thing to have 12 years of being on the road and creating music with your best friends. And honestly, I got to be real. Your last show at the Danforth was the hardest I cried, aside from when I got married 2 months prior.
That
All happy tears, I swear.
I think no, I think it was the hardest I ever cried, including my wedding.
Wow, there you go. There you go. It's an emotional journey, you know. It's 12 years of music and memories, and it's all just combining into this one moment. So I can only imagine, watching it from the crowd, just like surrounded by people who are all like, I saw two strangers just hug each other. They're just like, man, like we're just so happy to be here and like witness what we're witnessing. And then I'm thinking to myself, if everyone here is crying, like holy shit, like I can't imagine how much they're probably crying on stage right now, you know?
We we were definitely able to we were able to really shed tears together, both before and after that last
Mhm.
performance. And yeah, and nothing else has felt like that. It was uh, really exactly how we wanted to do it, and we were we were emotional just out of being I think feeling as grateful as we felt just led to it being in a very emotional moment.
Absolutely. Now, in the 12 years of being in a band, is there any specific moment or moments that stand out to you that you'll never forget?
Any moments? Well, all of those shows, of course.
Of course.
There, you know, there are moments, but they wouldn't be the ones that you might guess. Like they're these tiny, quirky moments that you just could never recreate again. Like the barely catching, barely catching a flight, or like yeah, a couple getting engaged on stage, at a
Mhm.
festival, like while we were playing. Trips to cities we never thought we'd see. Landing in like a place like Moscow to play a show, and you know, just never having imagined that that would be, not only would we be in these places, but that we would be there together, made those moments where we just like had like jaw-dropping moments, just you know, from one place to another, made the travels just really, really special.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Now,
Yeah.
something that I always think of when I think of Hollerado is the 111 songs,
Sure.
because that is just like so crazy awesome that you guys managed to do that. So basically, I think what happened was when you guys released White Paint, you had like it was like a special promotional bundle that got people the album. I think it was a T-shirt, a poster, and then a custom song written for that person.
Right.
So how did that idea kind of happen, and like what was the process of working on 111 songs?
So yeah, what led to it was just wanting to, you know, say thank you to the people who got our album, the people who bought White Paint. You know, we just wanted to express our gratitude for whoever picked up the album. And so, you know, to sweeten the pot, we decided to include a custom song written by us, that we would, you know, we would figure out the details later, of course, but we thought, you know, on paper, it sounded like an amazing idea. Then, of course, when it came time to roll up our sleeves and do all these songs, we figured, you know, we could get through it real quick. We could just write everybody a little ditty and send it off, and bring a smile to everybody's faces, and that would be that. But we couldn't help but get extremely invested into every single person's personal song. They had provided for us a couple of details, maybe, you know, about themselves or about a favorite pet or where they grew up or where they were born, for us to use, to put their songs together. Only we took that information and we let our imaginations run way wilder than we had intended to. and before you knew it, about 2 years had passed, and we finally rounded the corner of finishing each of the 111 songs, that we, you know, that we promised everybody. But at the end of it, we had really made some stuff that we were really proud of, and I think people felt that we did invest a lot into it. And, you know, ultimately it took a long time and it was exhausting, but we wouldn't have had it any other way than to go all in on such a ridiculous project.
Of course, no, man. And it's funny, so you literally had the name of every fan for each song, which is just like, it makes it that much more personal, you know? It's just like that nice little cherry on top.
Totally. Yeah, that's, yeah, I guess each song has, as part of its official title, the person's name as the title of that song. So that's something too.
Absolutely. Now, moving on from Hollerado, actually, I want to grab something super quick. I should have kept it right next to me, but alas, I will dig into my record collection and pull out this beautiful thing I got right here.
That is beautiful.
It is most certainly beautiful because you not only were one of the producers, but you also engineered it, and you played live with Anyway Gang.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun working on that record. Well, since Menno is one of the members of the Anyway Gang, he asked me to help out with the production, and I of course said yes. I love absolutely everybody involved with that project, and I was just thrilled to, you know, get to do whatever I could to bring something to the record that they were making. It was a blast. And I got to play some guitars on it. We worked on it a bunch at my studio. And then, yeah, when it came time to play live, I helped sort of organize rehearsals at my studio. And if anybody needed to learn any parts, I made sure they knew what was being played. And we had an absolute blast playing that very first show, and we had plans to do more, but given the situation we were in, it's not going to be quite as soon as I was hoping, because, you know, it's so much fun. I'm so looking forward to the next time, and it will be soon, but remains to be seen exactly when.
Exactly. No, that's all good. Now, obviously, you know, you said yourself, you know Menno going into that situation, obviously. So did you know Dave, Sam, and Chris beforehand, or was it kind of like you maybe met each other once or twice, and then this is like the real get to know each other?
So I knew Dave real well. I knew Sam real well, since we had toured with both Tokyo Police Club and Sam Roberts. I knew Chris a little bit, but we had never played with them. We had never really hung out nearly as much as we wound up hanging out for making that record, and then obviously playing the show and practicing to play the show. And I fell in love with Chris as well, just as much as with everybody else. He's awesome, as are all the guys involved in that project, and all amazing songwriters, and the kind of people you know, that who just by hanging out with them you feel like you're you know, you're gleaning something, you're getting better at your own craft, you know, when you're working with people who take it as seriously as those guys do.
Now I have a gentleman's bet with my bandmates. Is it you on the record playing the guitar solo on Eyes of Green?
Yes, it is.
I am $2 richer now.
You're on the winning side of that gentleman's bet.
Yeah, no, that album, I remember I was at a bar when I think I read it through Indie 88 when they released the article saying that there's like a new Canadian supergroup forming, and for some reason I thought it was an April Fool's joke. Because I saw the names and I was like, that's like my dream group. Like there's just no way that it's a real thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's very borderline April Fool's worthy headline, for sure.
It's really like it's CanCon's wet dream, you know?
Totally.
So, and then when Big Night came out, I was like, oh my god, like it's real, like it's happening, and
for sure.
I was like, this is gonna be the best album I've ever listened to, and it truly is. I think my wife can attest, when it came out, and still to this day, when I start playing it, I just let it run through the whole thing, because there's no way you can start it and not get to the finish, because every song is really just, it's so catchy, it's just so inviting and warm, and just so fun to listen to. It really is a fun album.
Absolutely, yeah. It's fun the whole way through. And I think that's a testament to those guys' songwriting. I think any album that, you know, that leaves me with absolutely no urge to skip a track to get to a track, I would attribute that to just strong songwriting all the way through, you know?
There you go. And now, I know their whole demeanor of Anyway Gang is very, you know, loosey-goosey, kind of just like doing it for kicks and having fun, hanging out with friends, but do they plan on doing any sort of follow-up album, or is it more just like a one-time, hey, like, let's see how this goes?
I can't speak to any specific plans of theirs, you know, to do another one. I would be shocked if they didn't, because you know, everybody's having such a blast with it, and it seems like such a natural fit. They're all great together, and they're all like, while at the same time as having, you know, obviously a great time, they also, you know, take the craft really seriously and take music really seriously, and I think they see in this band something really special, that you know, is worth doing more with. It's not something to be wasted, you know.
Absolutely, man. It's just, and I'm excited. I hope they do something. I know, obviously, probably not anytime soon. We need to kind of just chill out and let this whole situation sort itself out, but hopefully down the line we get Anyway Gang, the sequel to Anyway to Gang. Potential album title right there. You know, you heard it here first.
I would completely $2 bet on there being another album.
There you go. There you go. I'm excited. I'm excited. Now, Nixon, what's your favorite venue as a performer in Toronto specifically, and what's your favorite venue as a patron?
Oh man, there's so many great venues in Toronto, man. I feel like, I mean, I gotta go with the Horseshoe, definitely being one of them, one of my favorites to play at, and one of my favorites to attend. You know, you can't walk into that place without seeing somebody you know.
It's true.
Which is what I love about it. And everybody there is the real deal. They care about so much about what they're there to do as a venue. You know, what they provide for both local and touring artists. And you know, you could say the same about just about every venue in Toronto. Everywhere you go, you know, the crew is amazing. You know, like there's a sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like no matter where you wind up, either playing or watching music in the city. So, I mean, I just seriously couldn't pick a favorite. I miss all of those venues very much right now.
Yeah,
And,
same.
I am so looking forward to getting back into them. You know, to both see stuff and to play stuff.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm trying to like imagine my first time going back to a venue, and I feel like it's gonna feel strange, but also completely natural. You know, like it's gonna walk a very fine line.
It's going to be like they say, just like riding a bike. You know, when you haven't done it for 10 years, it'll all come back to you.
Exactly, exactly. Well, Nixon, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us tonight. This has been really great. But before we let you go, we got to do some music trivia. How do you feel about that?
Let's try it.
Okay, I got my questions here. It's going to start off pretty easy, and then there's 5 questions. They're going to get progressively harder as we go along. All right?
Let's see how far I get. I did tell you I did give you the disclaimer that I consider myself one of the worst people in the world at music trivia, but we'll see if I'm right.
We're here to make that change. We're here to make you the best music trivia person in the history of music trivia.
Well, let's see how I do.
Okay, here we go. Question 1. Kelly Clarkson was the first winner of what popular show? A, The Voice, B, America's Got Talent, C, American Idol, or D, Deal or No Deal?
I'm so glad these are multiple choice. That'll make it a little easier.
Yes. I don't know if I mentioned that. They are multiple choice. There are options.
That's cool. I think it's American Idol.
You are correct. You are 1 for 1 there. There we go. All right, off to a good start. Question number 2. White Wedding is a song performed by which artist? A, Billy Ocean, B, Billy Idol, C, Billie Holiday, or D, Billy Joel?
That's amazing. Billy Idol.
That is correct. 2 for 2. Nixon, you're doing great. You're doing great so far. All right.
You're throwing me softballs. Let's admit it, but I'll take them.
Just you wait. Just you wait. Question number 3. What was the highest selling album of the 1980s? Was it A, Thriller, Michael Jackson? Was it B, Born in the USA from Bruce Springsteen? C, Joshua Tree from U2? Or D, Purple Rain from Prince?
I would guess Thriller.
You are correct.
Cool.
There you go. 3 for 3. All right. Woo. Here's what it...
You're really making me feel good about myself right now.
Well, I want to see if you know these last 2 because I surely did not.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All right. Question number 4. What musician won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2016? Is it A, Bob Dylan, B, Leonard Cohen, C, David Byrne, or D, Neil Young?
It was Bob Dylan.
You are correct. Oh my. Oof. Okay.
Isn't that crazy? That Bob Dylan won a Nobel Prize.
Saying it out loud sounds absurd.
It's like as if we didn't have enough reasons to idolize the guy in the first place.
It's kind of funny though. I've loved Bob Dylan growing up, and then I had a bad moment with Bob Dylan. I hate to bring it to a little sour note, but I went to go see him. This was, oh man, years ago now when he played at the ACC. Mark Knopfler opened for him, and Mark Knopfler was great. My buddy bought floor tickets, which he was like, hey, he's like, listen, he's like, I love Bob Dylan. It's on me. Just come with. Like, no one else wants to go. And I was like, yeah, I was like, of course, like, it's Bob Dylan. Why wouldn't I go? And he didn't play guitar, which was kind of like, I was hoping that he would pick up the guitar maybe for 1 or 2 songs, but he didn't play guitar. And to be honest, he didn't really sing. He basically, it sounded like a grandfather reading a bedtime story with a musical accompaniment in the background.
Oh my God.
And I felt bad because I was like, it's Bob Dylan, but I'm really disappointed. And I thought to myself, there's no way that this night could get any worse. And then I went home to my parents' house where I was living at the time, and I found out that my dog had passed away. So, yeah, so thanks, Bob Dylan.
Right. Oh my God.
I know. At the end of the day, he is a legend. So, you know, I do love him, but I have this image of that show in my head that I just can't escape.
Well, I feel like because he's so amazing, I can take a swing at him and it means absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
But from every description I've heard of him playing live, it's been exactly like that. And to me, like, you don't go to see Bob Dylan live, you go to see him alive.
You know what? That is equal parts hilarious and true.
I don't claim, you know, to be the funniest guy around, but you know.
I see maybe a future in stand-up comedy, maybe? I don't know. Okay, Nixon, are you ready for the fifth and final question?
Absolutely.
Okay. I got this question from my drummer, Colin, because I did not know. I was looking up a bunch of tough questions, and all of them, I was like, it seems like I feel like he'll know it, because they seemed suspiciously easy, even though they were like, this is like the hardest music trivia question ever. All right. Which musician is Eminem's AA sponsor? Is it A, Axl Rose, B, Elton John, C, Phil Collins, or D, Steven Tyler?
Wow. I'm just so curious about the answer that I don't even care if I get this wrong, but I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say Elton John.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Nixon, you have gone a perfect 5 for 5.
Woo!
There you go. Well done.
That's
well,
crazy.
That is actually, I'm very impressed you got that. That's like, that's a tough one.
There's a famous moment of Eminem performing with Elton John where they give each other a big hug at the end of their performance.
You knew.
So that's in my mind. Also, if Axl Rose was your AA sponsor, you would fail miserably.
Yes.
And Eminem's probably doing okay. Thanks in large part to the fact that Axl Rose is not his sponsor.
Yeah. It's funny. I saw Eminem at Bonnaroo 2 years ago, and I was just like standing there the whole time thinking to myself, you know what? He seems to be in great shape right now.
Nice. Right. Amazing. He's he with Elton John's help, he'll just keep going.
Exactly. There you go. You can't stop him. Well, Nixon, thank you. 1,000 thank yous for joining us tonight. This has been an absolute treat just to chat with you, and you know.
And thanks for having that guy from Repeat on before. I didn't know
Jared,
until I was watching, and he seemed cool, and I checked out his band while you guys were chatting. They were awesome.
They are a great band. Their last album, Glaze, it came out this time last year, is just an absolute. It's chef's kiss, you know.
Yeah. So this is great. I heard one song, and I'll listen to more now.
Oh, there you go. Well, I'm glad we got a new artist for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome, Nixon. Thank you so much, man. We'll chat soon. All right.
Bye for now.
Take care.
Cheers.